What's happening, guys? Chris here with another one of those Overwatch guides, and this time I'm going to be taking an in-depth look at the defensive character Mei, going over all of those abilities in detail and giving a load of tips and tricks on how to use them to both kill your enemies and survive for longer. Mei's abilities revolve around using icy elements to freeze targets, deny routes of travel, and protect herself from allies from oncoming attackers. Generally excelling more in close quarters, she can often be a tough hero to escape from, especially if caught off guard. And those abilities can be pretty good for assisting teammates by slowing down enemies, making them easier for teammates to finish off, plus adding obstacles across busy routes to temporarily shut them off and prevent incoming damage, whilst your team heals back up. Mei's got slightly more health than the average hero, with 250 HP, 50 more than most of the others. And because she can block off damage and regain health using those powers, she can be one of the most durable characters in the game when used properly. Though she's got a 3-star difficulty rank, as you'll have to use those abilities at the right times to save yourself and team. And because you're not exactly the most mobile of heroes, and can't deal heavy amounts of damage really quickly, you're usually going to be best hanging around allies to help them out, whilst using them as a distraction, and staying away from large open areas, using cover to sneak around enemies and attack them up close before they can run away. So Mei is a climatologist and was a member of Overwatch, with the task to investigate the planet's growing climate problems. After being assigned to a monitoring station at an eco-watch point in Antarctica, disaster struck as a huge polar storm severely damaged the installation, cutting off the power, leaving its scientists and environmentalists stranded. Supplies began to run out, and so the remaining survivors were forced to enter cryostasis as a last-ditch effort to stay alive until they can be rescued. No rescue attempt was ever made, and everybody there died in cryosleep, except for one individual, Mei, who was discovered years later, still in hibernation. After the team's cryogenic chamber was discovered, she hadn't aged in physical appearance, but the world was a very different place upon awakening. Overwatch was gone, and the climate had only gotten worse, and with many questions about the planet's environmental crisis, she set out alone with some advanced high-tech climate manipulation technology, and wandered the world to find the causes of threat to the planet's ecosystem. But anyway, with all of that story stuff aside, the main weapon that you'll be using is an advanced bit of climate manipulation tech called the Endothermic Blaster. Its primary firing mode lets you shoot out a short-range stream of frost that both damages nearby targets and slows them down to eventually freeze them into place. Whereas the secondary fire launches a fast-moving icicle projectile straight towards your target after a very short charge-up time. The freezing stream is going to be your main attack for taking on opponents up close. It's only got a maximum range of 10 meters, though because it slows down your target's movements, it means that you can keep within that range much easier than you would be able to otherwise. It doesn't initially cause a lot of pain, as it only deals around 45 damage per second, taking roughly about 5 seconds of contact to kill an opponent with the beam alone. Though it's definitely going to make your target panic, as not only will it continuously deal this damage on an affected target, it'll slow their movements, making them much easier for other heroes to attack, and it'll eventually stun them for 1.5 seconds, shutting down their ability to move or cause damage completely, after they've been exposed to the beam for about 2 seconds. Once an enemy is frozen, they're extremely vulnerable to both Mei and other allies, with no way to escape or fight back. Mei can continue to attack a frozen target to kill normal heroes or significantly lower a tank character's health. Though with smart team play, attacks from other heroes could be coordinated to take out Mei's victims even quicker. Snipers such as Widowmaker and Hanzo players could work with Mei to headshot frozen and slow down opponents, taking them out of the battle a lot faster. Plus it'll allow other high damage, close range damage dealers like Reinhardt, Reaper, Roadhog and Tracer to get closer and get within their optimal range to wipe out those frozen targets much more easily whilst they're immobile. You'll be able to fire the frost stream for about 10 seconds before it'll need reloading, and that reload is going to take 1.5 seconds to take full effect. So it's often best engaging a target with a full tank of ammo if you can, just so you can take full advantage of that freezing ability. As if you're forced to reload as soon as an enemy gets stunned, the reload time will probably prevent you from dealing any more damage on that frozen victim. There are a few characters that can escape your stream more easily than others, and you should be aware of the situation that you're putting yourself into when taking on certain players. Reinhardt can block the freezing beam with his barrier, and so you'll have to flank him or wait for that barrier to deplete before it'll become effective. Tracer can blink out of harm's way, Genji can swift strike out of the blaster's range, though his deflect won't counter it. Pharah can jump into the air to escape, Mercy can glide over to another hostile player to get away, Winston can leap out of the optimal range, D.Va can use those boosters to get out of there, and Widowmaker can grapple over to a nearby ledge or wall to escape from the beam too. So there's quite a lot of ways that characters can escape from your freezing beam of death. and this is why it can often be a more useful attack to be used in the heat of battle when opponents are distracted by other members of your team to even notice that they're getting frozen, in narrow walkways and spaces with little room to escape, along with the use of a bit of sneaky flanking to catch enemies from behind by surprise. Now, although the Ice Beam is a powerful attack up close, that secondary function is going to be much more useful at those further distances. The icicles that you fire off are projectile based, though they do travel at a very fast velocity, meaning you won't have to lead moving targets all that much when taking them on, though you will have to take into consideration a short charge up time for the icicle to be readied before fired out. Keeping your lines of sight with an enemy is essential for landing successful hits, and for every shot that makes contact, it's going to deal a fairly generous 75 damage at closer ranges, though this drops off at about 26 meters, decreasing in damage over distance down to as low as 22 beyond 55 meters. So these stats tell us that the blaster's secondary fire is by no means a sniper, though it is capable of taking away nice chunks of health both up close and at medium distances. Because it's Mei's only attack capable of dealing long range damage, it should still be used on enemies in the distance anyway, as at least it'll help to lower their health and make them easier to take on as they get closer, though the secondary fire is only really going to shine if your target isn't too far away. Its icicles don't share the same freezing properties as the close range beam, though they do share the same ammo pool, and you'll only be able to fire about 8 shots before reloading on a full tank of ice. Because of the high amount of close range damage you can deal with the icicles, it's a great means to quickly finish off a frozen individual stunned by your ice beam, and because of that 2x multiplier for headshot damage, you can bump it up right up to 140. As your target is frozen solid in place and unable to move, these headshots can be much easier to line up, and is often a much quicker way to kill opponents than continuing to fire at your enemies with the ice beam. Though the ice beam will still do the job on its own if your target is already low on health as they get stunned, and can sometimes be a more reliable way to finish off weakened players without having to stop and line up an icicle shot. So moving on to a more defensive ability now, the Ice Wall. This can be a really useful tool for a variety of different things, from blocking damage and temporarily denying access through specific routes, to create obstacles for your opponents to move around, and blocking clear lines of sight. Each ice wall lasts 4.5 seconds and consists of 5 individual pillars that can block 500 damage each. It can be used for both offensive and defensive purposes, as it'll allow your team to advance on enemy positions safely, blocking lines of sight and acting as temporary cover, though it'll also help to prevent attackers from entering rooms, advancing towards objectives, and escaping those ultimate abilities. Though it won't freeze a payload into place, but it could still be used to block enemies off from getting to it quickly. The ice walls can split up attackers, allowing your team to focus fire on individuals caught in front of them, blocking them in, and turning a 6v6 battle into a much easier fight. It can also be used to single out healers, such as Mercy, and allow your team to take them out before they can top their allies' health back up. But other than blocking enemies in and out of areas and denying routes of travel, they can also be used to block potentially dangerous attacks too, from enemy sniper shots, Bastion sentry fire, Torbjorn's turret, and loads of other things, allowing your team to either advance or retreat to safety. Some ultimate abilities can be blocked, and although it won't save your team from everything, it will break some lines of sight and lower the effectiveness of a lot of them, blocking damage from D.Va's self-destruct, plus completely rendering McCree's Deadeye ability useless if used right in front of him. It can be used to block off a Dragon Blade in Genji from attacking your team, and also help prevent Soldier 76 from acquiring lock-on with his tactical visor. Because the ice wall acts as a solid object, it can be scaled by both Hanzo and Genji. Even allow a friendly Reinhardt to crush an opponent against it when using charge, and although it might take some team coordination and quick reflexes, it's totally doable and can help out when a Reinhardt is attacking in an open area. It can also be used to reach high platforms when used directly underneath both yourself and teammates, as the wall's going to propel you upwards, creating a ledge for players to stand on, which could be handy for allowing Anna to reach better sniper spots, and Bastion and Torbjorn to set up defences high up. Next up is Cryo Freeze, and this is Mei's most useful survival ability, as it's not only going to prevent any more damage from being inflicted, but it's also going to remove debuffs and heal up to 150 HP of lost health too. You won't be able to move or use abilities, but you won't be able to take any further damage either whilst frozen solid. And it can be cancelled at any time mid-freeze to continue moving and restart the cooldown for your next Cryo Freeze. It's going to help keep you in the battle, allow you to contest objective points, and even act as a temporary cover piece for allies to stand behind. Being able to block all damage makes the Cryo Freeze one of the best survival abilities in the whole game, as you can pretty much counter every ultimate ability when used at the right moment. Being frozen in place gives enemies a chance to essentially gang up and focus fire on you as soon as you exit the Cryo Freeze. So a good tactic to prevent this is to quickly conjure up an ice wall right in front of you as soon as you finish Cryo Freezing, if a bunch of enemy players are waiting for you to defrost. And this will give you some time to escape backwards and survive after the ability has taken effect. But for health regain purposes, it can be used to top health back up whenever you've lost it, without the need to hunt out health packs or wait for an ally support hero to heal you back up. Now as for Mei's ultimate ability, Blizzard, this lets you throw down a weather modification drone that emits freezing gusts of wind and snow within a wide circular area of effect for 5 seconds. Anyone caught within the blizzard will be slowed down and be dealt up to 97 damage if they were in the blizzard for its full duration. Any target that stays within the blizzard's field will become frozen after 3.5 seconds, leaving them highly vulnerable and unable to move or attack. It's generally best used when against groups of enemy players that are all standing close to each other to put them out of action, and so that they can all be taken out by yourself and the rest of your team much more easily. Using Blizzard against a cluster of enemies pushing a payload or taking over an objective is usually a good time to use it, as not only will you be able to kill several opponents currently in that area more easily, but it'll also deter others from advancing forwards, and anyone who escapes the blizzard won't be able to go for the objective for a short while. When taking on anyone caught in the blizzard, it's important to know that the frost stream from your blaster stacks with the ultimate to freeze enemies twice as quick. So it can often be best to shoot them with the blaster whilst the blizzard is active to stun them sooner. Though you could always hide behind an ice wall or use Cryo Freeze to protect yourself and wait for the enemies caught within the field to become frozen, and then run in safely and finish off players with icicle headshots once they become immobile. The blizzard can also help other heroes on your team use their more damage dealing ultimates more effectively too, as enemies will be much easier to take out whilst the blizzard slows them all down to a halt within the area. Just be cautious when using it around a Genji, as although it might be very hard to do, he can still deflect it back, forcing it to work for the enemy team instead of your own. So generally, Mei can be a tough hero to take out with a lot of abilities centered around protecting herself and team. And despite being a nice friendly character, she can be an absolute terror to be up against, freezing her victims and blasting them away at closer ranges. Working alongside other heroes is often best for survival, helping to assist them in both hectic battles and in smaller rooms. She doesn't really need a healer to provide constant health, as you can quite easily regain your own health and keep yourself protected, though you'll have to be quick to block incoming damage before it's too late. She's good at disrupting the enemy team, countering their attacks and ultimate abilities, though quicker characters and targets further away can sometimes get the better of you if you're not careful. So that's all for this one guys, hope the guide helped out. Be sure to drop me a like if it did, and subscribe for loads more. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.